I really want to get into, the psychology of paying yourself first because, why is it so hard to pay ourselves first when you know it's the smartest thing to do? It is a discipline to pay yourself first, but it's not hard because here's a good tool and resource, y'all. If you've ever heard of the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, here's the biggest takeaway. Implementing new habits in your life, when you start to link it to already formed habits that you have, it becomes easier to start doing it and having it be a normal part of your routine. So when I'm linking the new habits with the existing ones, it makes it easier to incorporate these new routines into my life. Hello, Money Multipliers. Welcome back to another episode of the Money Multiplier podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Kessler, and we ask ourselves, do our dollars make sense? So I'm here every Tuesday. New episodes are launching, so catch every week for new updated information revolving around your money and how you're spending your money and how you can control your money. I will say this is actually an episode. I'm filming them in my retainers today, so hopefully a lisp doesn't come through. I'm almost done with my Invisalign treatment, so I'm on my second to last tray right now, so I got about a month left, and then we'll kind of see if I want to go back and do some like reprinting like on my teeth how they are now and get even more correction, because I have like this little gap like on the bottom teeth that I kind of want like my tooth to move just a little bit closer to close it. But hey, how am I financing for my Invisalign treatment? Using my policy cash values to do so, right? So today's episode, I really want to get into, the psychology of paying yourself first because, why is it so hard to pay ourselves first when you know it's the smartest thing to do? And a matter of fact, I was actually having a conversation with Shelton like 2 nights ago, and he made this comment about, he goes, Hannah, that part of my brain, it just doesn't work. Okay, like I get it. I'm very good at all this other stuff. I can use my hands. I know how to construct a building. I know how to cut glass and do all of this other stuff. But that part of my brain just doesn't really work. And so actually just to help him because of our household here, I actually make him give me his money every single month to force him to pay himself first. So, sorry, I'm putting you on blast, Shelton, right now. So, it is a discipline to pay yourself first, but it's not hard because here's a good tool and resource, y'all. If you've ever heard of the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, I love that book. I listened to it on audio because I was having the conversation with myself, Hannah, you want to go to the gym. You want to eat better when you're on the road, but why are you not doing it? You know what to do, but just why are you not doing it? So collectively, incorporating these new habits into your life, here's the biggest takeaway. Implementing new habits in your life, when you start to link it to already formed habits that you have, it becomes easier to start doing it and having it be a normal part of your routine. So quick example here, like how I'm now being consistent doing my yoga, going to the gym, is I'm linking it to an already existing habit. Okay, so when I get up in the morning, the first thing that I do is Daisy's in my face and she's hungry and they're spoiled. Okay, so I feed them wet food in the morning time and wet food in the evening time. And then also they have their dry food sitting out all day long. But in the morning, that's her favorite meal, right? She likes the wet food. So she's getting me up. That's the first thing I do is get into the fridge. I actually feed my cats the smalls of food. It's very, very good for them. So for all my cat lovers and cat owners out there, smalls is what I personally use to feed Daisy and Monroe. But I get up, I go to the fridge, I take out the smalls and I plate them, right? Then I go set that down. Then the second thing that I do is I start the coffee machine. And once I start the coffee machine, the coffee's brewing. That's my already established habit of what I do every morning. So then now what I do is I incorporate the new habit of, okay, once the coffee machine has started, now it's time to get on your gym clothes and your tennis shoes. We're going to go downstairs and go to the gym. So when I'm linking the new habits with the existing ones, it makes it easier to incorporate these new routines into my life. So that's what I've personally been doing to do this. Obviously, the Money Multiplier, this is a money podcast. When I do it for my financials, I've said it multiple times on the show and even my live streams, which shout out, okay, I also have a second show every Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. It's a live stream. So if you're following on Money Multiplier or even my personal channels, Hannah Kessler, you'll see those lives go on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and different platforms. So obviously I've said this in the past about how I track my financials every month, and what I do is I block out the first Wednesday of the month from 9 to 12, and that's when I look at my previous months of my cash flow of what happened on my business, right? Because I'm 100% my own business owner. There's no other partnerships with me right now, just within my own agency, my own production, right? There's more to that with the Money Multiplier company, but I started to do that because I simply just put it into my calendar. I was just at an event in Orlando this past weekend speaking, and I was at a multifamily investing event, and they were talking about how if you don't control your calendar and your time's going to start controlling you. So I've even had weeks where I've had a schedule in my calendar. Okay, from 7 to 8, this is shower and get ready time. Okay, from 8 to 9, this is when we're going on our walk this morning. I don't know. So, right, I live and die by my calendar personally. And so if I block out that time, that's the time that I need to respect for that set aside time, okay? Because honestly, you're only in battle with yourself when it comes to your time and your calendar. And when you say disciplined with it, you're going to do it. So, hey, just before we get into this episode, there's a practical tool. If you struggle with paying yourself first, set it in your calendar or even do like an automatic sweep. Sweep is like the word I've been using this week. I don't know. So like an automatic sweep from your bank account, maybe into a separate segregated checking account. Or for all my policy holders, you can set up those automatic loan repayments. And that's a way of how you can start paying yourself back. So a little personal update, because I'm on this whole tax journey right now, specifically because 2024 freaking killed me. Made me physically ill. So I'm starting to have this big epiphany that understanding taxes, it's almost like infinite banking. Like how I say all the time that, hey, nobody's going to care more about your money than what you do. Nobody's going to care more about your tax situation than what you do, right? Because your CPAs and your financial people are there, and they're there, we think, to give us support on strategies, like specifically our CPAs. We turn in all of our receipts and our paperwork into them, and we think that they're there to help us with tax strategies and implementing new ways of how you can legally not pay taxes. But if you kind of think about it, your CPA is really not doing that, just in my personal experience. Now I'm finding somebody that is very knowledgeable, and I'm once I find out more about this information, I'm going to bring it back to y'all. But they're really there just filing based on the information that you give them. And they're not really giving us any strategies or things that we could be doing. Or if you're kind of asking them about it, they're kind of going the basic routes of, well, hey, how about you do a 401k or a solo K? Or have you ever heard about a 1031 exchange? And it's like, yes, I know about all of that. But hey, can we start talking about cost segregation, depreciation? Remember my past episode with Miranda? I mean, Miranda's really the one that started me on this whole journey when she started talking about the big, beautiful bill that was passed and cost segregation and things that you can do on properties and real estate and equipment and oil and gas and even clean energy, right? Here's the biggest thing that I learned, okay? And shout out to this book, Tax-Free Wealth. I'm about a third of the way through it right now, and it's written by a gentleman, Tom Wheelwright, and he's actually Robert Kiyosaki's CPA and tax strategist. And I'll tell you, this book is so fascinating. Like, I'm not a huge reader all the time, okay? That's why I like my audiobooks. But this one I opened up on the plane this past weekend. I had about 2 hours there, 2 hours back, so 4 hours of reading time I was able to do. I mean, this book literally made me giggle, okay? It's good, and he makes taxes easy to understand. And what I learned is that if you understand the tax code, you understand what the government is wanting us to do. Because if I'm going out there and I am creating housing and I'm putting up apartment buildings and I'm developing, and giving people housing, the government wants us to do that. They also want us to go out and create jobs for people. So when you're a business owner, you get tax credits, tax deductions because you're helping thrive the economy and create jobs for folks. So I'm learning now that if you understand really the tax code, you kind of understand what the government wants you to do. And if you think about it, legally not paying taxes is the most patriotic thing that you can do because you're following what the government wants you to do. Okay? That was like my whole big epiphany. I was like, whoa, I get it now. And I might lose a few subscribers by saying this, but all my people who are like, tax the rich, it has a whole other new meaning to me now. But I digress. I don't want to talk about taxes on today's episode, so sorry, I got a little off track there. But the reason why now I'm so happy with my new tax person is I'm changing my LLC to be taxed as an S corp, which nobody comes and talks to you about this stuff. The differences between sole proprietors, partnerships, C corps, S corps. What are the pros and cons to all of them? Thank goodness for AI and ChatGPT, right? But I didn't know the questions to ask. So if I would have known that in 2024, if I were to set myself up with a payroll that I'm paying out of my LLC to me personally every month, I asked my new tax guy this. I said, if it were to be set up this way and my old tax people were to tell me this, knowing what you know just roughly, how much would I have saved on my taxes just last year? You know what he told me? $50,000. And it really, really frustrates me. But at the same time, okay, if you're watching me on YouTube, look at this. I learned this when I was in Jamaica speaking at this other event, and it just has been carrying along with me now. I don't want to point the blame this way, right? And for all my audio listeners, it's like I'm holding up in my hand like a gun almost. I don't know a better way to say it. It's like, I don't know. So you can't point the blame this way, okay? Or like I'm pointing my finger away from me. I have to draw it back and my thumb has to point towards me because at the end of the day, it's my life, it's my taxes. I got to take the ownership and the responsibility over it. And as I always say, there's no mistakes, there's just expensive lessons. So I am figuring out these lessons, and like I said, as I learn more and more and I go down these different rabbit holes, I'm going to bring them to y'all because I have been doing some clean energy investing. I have been getting a lot more business deductions. So again, for all my young entrepreneurs, okay, and some of y'all who are a lot older than me, you're like, Hannah, you didn't know that? No, they don't teach you this stuff. You have to go and find it for yourself. All right, anyways, I digress. So why I bring that up is because now that I know that I can operate my LLC this way and I'm going to be starting to pay myself a salary, this whole meaning of paying myself first has gotten even deeper, okay? Because I'm going to have to be strict. It's not like how I used to do it, just, okay, when my personal account needs some money in it, I'm writing myself a check from my business account into my personal account. I can't really be doing that anymore. So I got to be strict on how I'm paying myself that payroll. And this, to me, is paying myself first. And so I need to figure out how much I need to be paying myself first every month, which I know that because I track it every month, right, for my net worth statements. It's just taken on a whole other meaning to me. So it's just a mindset shift, right? I mean, yes, habits and discipline come first, I feel. But if you think about it, your thoughts lead to your actions, which then lead to your results. So really, it starts within your mindset first, and then they'll lead to your actions, then leads to the results. So what does it really mean to start paying yourself first? So it's not just about saving, okay? Yeah, all right, if you just want to get textbook definition, it's just me saving. But if you think about it in terms of treating yourself as your number one asset, it's valuing your future self over that instant gratification. And paying yourself first just means that you're prioritizing the long-term security before anybody else gets paid. Because I say this all the time from stage, right? I don't even know you, but I know how y'all operate with your money, right? You guys get money that comes in and you go pay everybody else first. You pay the house people, you pay Bobby's soccer practice, Susie's piano lessons, the car people, the utility people, mortgage, rent, so many other expenses, right? And then you just hope and you wait and you pray that there's money left over for you to use. And we just got to stop that. So I think it really comes down to the scarcity versus the abundance mindset. And if you just start to incorporate this new habit of moving money over, paying yourself first, you're going to start to see that opportunities present themselves. You're going to see that you're going to have money for taxes, vacations, when something comes up that you need the funds for. And like I always say, I think paying yourself first should be those premium deposits that you're putting inside of your policy. So that's where we warehouse the money at. So now you're kind of just looking at yourself more as a wealth builder rather than just a earner, right? And so you want to treat yourself as your number one asset. So I get it though, most people struggle with it because we're conditioned to think bills, taxes, debt payments come first, and we need to get over the hump of the instant gratification, the dopamine over the discipline. I'm going to shout out Jason Sipple because Jason Sipple says this a lot. He says, Hannah, do you want the pain of regret or the pain of discipline? I think that's how it goes. Pain of regret or pain of discipline. And always, I just want the pain of discipline. I think that's how the saying goes. Jason, if you're listening to me, drop it in the comments. Make sure I'm saying it accurately. Hey, sorry to interrupt the episode here, but I want to take a quick break. If what you're hearing today has made you curious about infinite banking, how it works, I want you to go watch my free presentation. In it, I walk you through the same steps that my family took to pay off $984,000 of debt in 39 months and how we've been able to recycle and recapture every single dollar since then. This isn't theory. This is real. I mean, this is what the wealthy have been using over 200 years to keep the money within the family. This is literally where banks, conventional banks, store a boatload of their dollars at. And it's the same process that we've helped thousands of families across the country put into action. So go to themoneymultiplier.com/presentation and see for yourself how you can start taking control of your money today. All right, let's get back into the episode. You know, we could even talk about it from this perspective too, where traditional systems in our financial world that we have here in America, I mean, we're really taught to consume, and it's hard for people to wrap their mind around the accumulation of our money. which I personally think cash flow is better than accumulation, but given we have to accumulate up to some point. So I think it's hard for us because we're just not taught to build our own warehouse of wealth. And we think that saving this money, we're losing out on some liquidity of that money, specifically when it comes to the infinite banking concept and when we're putting money inside the policies. But we got to change the mindset. Okay. So, like I've been saying, it's all about your mindset and how you think about your money, because how you think about your money is going to change how you act with your money, having the self-respect, having the self-trust to do so. I mean, a lot of y'all are always like, oh my gosh, Hannah, I have to pay these premiums for a long, long time. What if I don't want to do that? Some people even tell me I don't want to keep paying my premiums into my policy. And again, it's just the mindset hurdle that they got to get over to start rethinking their thinking that this is me, again, treating myself as my number one asset, and thus I'm going to pay myself first before I go and pay anybody else next. So essentially, you're just telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it all went. I know a lot of y'all act like that. You get to the end of the month and you're like, oh my gosh, I only have $10 in my checking account. Where did it all go? Well, I don't know, Bobby Smith. How much did you spend at the grocery store and at the gasoline shop and at the barber shop or wherever you spent your money at, right? You got to track your stats and you need to be disciplined with that pay yourself first method. So the more consistently you pay yourself first, the more confident that you become with the money, and thus that confidence is going to lead you down other directions and different paths and opportunities that you can keep building that wealth for yourself and your family. So obviously, right, I'm a huge advocate of the infinite banking concept. I think that's where you should be paying yourself first at. If this is your first time hearing about the infinite banking concept, reach out. I'll send you the presentation, or read Nelson's book here, Becoming Your Own Banker. Reminder for all of my people too who are implementing this process, you should keep rereading Nelson's book, Becoming Your Own Banker. And then also, hey, coming up, I'm pretty sure this week that this podcast episode drops, the mastermind recording should be out and should be available for purchase for all of my people who did not come join us live or did not purchase a ticket. I would go and watch a lot of that. Okay, so you should be getting emails, especially if you get emails from us here at the Money Multiplier. You've already been notified that the recordings are available for purchase. So watch those. Sorry, my brain's going down other avenues, but watch those, seriously. I mean, there's good information. It kind of just brings you back to center of why you started this whole journey in the first place. So personally, why I feel it's better to pay myself first into the policy is because now I am creating the discipline for myself. It's almost like an accountability partner if you think about it, because premium comes due. I want to make sure I pay that premium because minimum that I have to pay into the policy is that base premium. And so I am creating that consistency with myself and holding myself accountable. But then on top of that, the whole reason why I funnel my dollars through the policy first is because now I'm earning that uninterrupted compounding in the policy, even while I still use it, right? Because my money becomes available to me immediately. My definition of immediately is within 30 days. And so when I'm paying those premiums into my policy now, I'm enjoying the benefits of that uninterrupted compounding while still having access to the money when I need it. So think like a banker, not a borrower, okay? Think like a business owner, not just a consumer. And that delayed gratification, it can really lead to a lot of just different roads that you can go down, That's one thing Dad did a very good job at. He really taught us to pay ourselves first, to the point that, my 16-year-old niece, she's paying herself first. She's got a Rocket Money app that she's using, and even after the mastermind too, y'all, legacy has taken on a whole other meaning to me as well, because legacy is more than just the money being left to the family, right? It's the habits, it's the mindset, it's the family philosophies, the family constitution, if you will, if you have one for your family. So really just automate paying yourself first, even if it's small. Start building the habit. Where I start with all of this is I say, hey, we should be saving at least 10% of our income. So if I'm producing $10,000 a month, that 10%, $1,000, I want to set it to the side. That's me paying myself first, and then I'll go pay all the other expenses. But maybe it's not feasible for you to set aside 10% right now. Start with 5%, start with 2%. Something is better than nothing. So as time evolves, hopefully we're getting to the point where I can have more and more saving and keeping for myself. But just start where you're at right now. But the thing is, you just got to get started, okay? Stop sitting on the sidelines, stop waiting and having months and years pass, and really ask yourself this question. I don't know you watching me right now, but are you in the same position that you were a year ago, that you are today, or even 2 years ago that you are today? So do you want to keep living your life that same way? If so, awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you're really wanting to make these changes, the time just got to start now, because time's always going to pass, and time's the only resource that we can't get back. So just consider that payment or deposit or premium that you're paying yourself first, and then start thinking, okay, where is this going to go next? And then ask yourself, am I letting someone else control my money flow, or am I truly becoming my own banker? So I think that's really all my thoughts that I have here today. Another shout out to just a book I'm thinking about, The Psychology of Money, is a great book to get into as well, just talking about mindset here. Do y'all remember, before I took my little break on the podcast, I did a whole book review on The Psychology of Money, and I recorded the whole episode, and it was phenomenal. And then I lost the recording to it, and so I just haven't come back to get this re-recorded again. I will sometime soon in the future, but I just want y'all to remember that every dollar has a job. And the question is, are those dollars working for you, or is it working for somebody else? And hopefully your money is working for you. So thank you all for being here for another episode. We'll be back next week on Tuesday. And until then, you always have me. Send me an email, Hannah, spelled the same ways forwards and backwards, hannah@themoneymultiplier.com. And follow me on the Instagram, the social media channels, Facebook. I'm everywhere. Always posting out some shorts too, so those have been a lot of fun. A lot of y'all have been really liking the TikTok recently. I'll be honest, I don't sit on TikTok and scroll, but I like my Instagram reels. That's kind of where I live at. But thank you, y'all. I hope to see y'all on social media as well. And please reach out to me if you got questions, you have just your own personal situation that you want to talk about. I'm always here. So thank you again, and until next time, see you next week. Bye, everyone. Hey, y'all, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this content, click right here and it will take you to last week's podcast episode. I will see all of you beautiful money multipliers next week. See you then.